That trailer, much like the actual movie,
Yes.
just insists upon itself.
Oh, it swings, baby.
Oh, God. So I pitched this idea.
You did. I was so happy about it, too.
I pitched this idea because I thought it was going to be fun.
Yeah.
This week.
I'm going to have fun.
Yeah. This week, Ocean's 8 comes out.
It is.
The unnecessary reboot.
Well, in 2018, it has to be necessary because, me too.
Yeah, sure. And so we have that unnecessary
Women can
reboot.
steal shit, too.
Yeah, of course they can.
What are you saying, Liam?
I just want to know.
Are you saying women can't steal shit?
No, I'm saying they can steal shit. Just add them to the crew.
Okay.
Neither here nor there. The point is so I was like, let's do a compare and contrast because there's an older movie because the original Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra,
The Rat Pack,
with the Rat Pack was remade in 2001 with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, along with many others.
the Handsome Pack.
Yeah, the Handsome Pack.
Yep.
And I was like, I've never seen the Rat Pack version.
And of course, I own it.
And of course you own it. So I was like, let's do a compare and contrast. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
I messed up.
I don't believe you did.
That movie was long.
That was a hoot.
And pacing was terrible.
It was a hoot.
But welcome into That Movie Show.
Hello, everybody.
How's everybody doing today?
Mike Wendt Liam Stryker, Bill Neville behind the board, pulling that wonderful 5.5 hour long trailer for us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. But yeah, we're doing a compare and contrast from the 1960 Ocean's 11 and then the 2001 remake or reboot, whatever we're calling it today, of Ocean's 11. The original Ocean's 11 was, let's see, it doesn't give me a budget on it. It made $5 million at the box office. I know Sinatra was offered $700,000 for a salary, which in today's standpoint would be about $6 million.
Yeah.
If you're doing that math.
Sounds about right.
The remake was made for a budget of $85 million and a box office of $450 and spawned 2 sequels and now a female reboot.
Yeah, female reboot spinoff.
Something like that. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet. I thought it was a mistake. I'm just going to jump right to the reboot, the one that's coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
I thought it was a mistake. If they were going to do something like this, why not have Julia Roberts' character from the remake, who was already an Ocean? She's Tess Ocean.
Yeah, right.
Why not have her kind of start the crew?
Well, that's exactly what I thought was originally going to happen because when I heard that was going to be a thing, I was like, oh.
I get it. Julia Roberts.
Julia Roberts is going to be the person that puts together this crew.
Right.
And it's going to be her people. But then it was just like, no, it's not. And it was
never even, I never even saw anything where it was like proposed and maybe she didn't want to do it.
Right.
It was just like, no, this is Sandra Bullock's thing.
Yeah. It's going to be Sandra Bullock and she's not going to be related to Danny Ocean at all.
I haven't read anything in it. I'm guessing, what is she just? She's just an Ocean?
Yeah.
But so it's not, so it's kind of like the Ghostbusters thing. It's not going to be related. It's not going to be a spin-off.
Right.
It's its own little universe there. That somehow they're trying to connect through marketing.
That's what I believe. I think this falls in the camp of this name of this thing,
Right. And I mean, it's one of those things we were talking about a couple weeks ago when we pitched it. I'm like, my gut says don't go see it.
Yeah.
But there isn't much else out. And if I got a boring Saturday afternoon,
right,
I'm probably going to go and see it.
Right. I have Movie Pass.
Right.
So I'm probably going to see it because why the hell not?
Why the hell not? Yes, so let's see. Let me just run down the women who are the 8 real quick. And we're not doing this movie. We'll get to our actual movie in a second. Let me try to find it real fucking quick here. Ocean's 8. Come on. Come on, computer. God damn it.
Yeah, it's moving real slow for you, huh?
It really is. So Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Anne Hathaway, Mindy Kaling, Sarah Paulson.
Struggle. You can do it.
Is it Lupita Nyong'o?
No, it's a one-word name. Not Rihanna, because she's in it.
Okay.
I want to say Aquafina, but that's a water.
Aquafina.
Awkafina. Aquafina.
Aquafina.
Fucking Aquafina.
Aquafina.
How would you pronounce that name?
I'm trying to.
I'm pulling up what she said.
I know this makes me sound like a horrible person, but how would you pronounce that fucking name? Aquafina.
I'm trying to find it.
Awkwafina. Aquafina.
Aquafina.
All right, so new That Movie Show T-shirt. It's going to be her name with a water bottle.
Yeah.
And Helen Bonham Carter is the rounding out the 8.
And the funniest part is she was born Nora Loom.
Oh, wow. What did she do? Why does she have such an interesting name? She's a rapper. Okay, there you go.
She's a rapper.
Never mind. Oh, I'm sorry. because nobody can just be one thing today.
It's like Aquafina
She's a
with
triple threat.
No, she's a rapper. She's a comedian. She's a television personality. She's a television host and an actress known by the name Aquafina.
Aquafina.
And it's spelled like the New York accent way. It's like Aquafina.
Yeah, exactly.
Aquafina.
It's almost like she saw a water bottle, asked somebody how to pronounce it, and then said it in her own accent, and that's how it came to be.
Yeah,
Right.
It was phonetically spelled.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So they're putting a crew together, get a heist going for
Yeah,
for
reasons.
I don't know,
For
whatever.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out
We'll
when we
figure it
see
out.
the movie, and we'll do a review of
Something.
Ocean's 8.
Sure.
Maybe.
When Ocean's 9 comes out, because these movies sequels have weird numbering.
I know. Somehow 8 and 9 come before
11, 12, and 13.
11, 12, and 13.
And even though it's the same 11 guys pulling off the job,
Right.
it somehow turns into 12 and 13 instead of Ocean's 11 Part 2.
2 or 3. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, you're
okay.
right.
So let's start, of
Okay.
course, with
so
this 1960 Rat Pack movie. So basically, it's an interesting how this movie got started.
Yes.
Peter Lawford, one of the Rat
Okay.
Pack, heard the story from a gas station attendant,
Okay.
told the story to Frank Sinatra. His first inclination, in a very Sinatra-esque way, is, fuck the movie, let's just pull off the job.
Yeah, right.
But then, of course, Frank took it to the head of Warner Brothers, something Warner. Of course, he was one of the Warner Brothers at the time.
Yeah.
And that was when he offered him he's put it into script form and offered him $700,000 to be in it. And Frank casted it with all his buddies, set it in Vegas.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And I feel, okay, so right off the bat, you said the pacing was all fucked up. And I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I believe there is a reason for it. It's because someone wrote a script. Let's see who wrote this fucker. Harry Brown and Charles Leder wrote the script. Frank and his friends never looked at it.
Yeah, of course.
They got the bullet points of the story that he already knew because Peter Lawford's gas
Right.
station guy gave it to him.
Yep.
And they just kind of improvised. That's why even in the trailer you get all these
Oh, the ADR in this movie
the
is...
weird lines. It just sounds like a bunch of dudes riffing because that's what it was. Like you asked,
Yeah.
I have no idea why he was fucking with this guy because because he didn't look at the script.
Right, because they just were doing that.
They were doing it, and not only that, they were filming in the afternoon and the evening. But
Yeah.
every night that they were filming, the Rat Pack was also doing shows at the Sands.
Okay.
And that's why if you stayed through the end credits,
Oh, I did not.
as they're walking away from the funeral,
Yeah.
and the credits are starting to roll and each character's getting their credits, right as Sammy Davis Jr. comes into frame, they're walking past the Sands Casino in Vegas, and you see all their names on the billboard.
Oh, okay.
Appearing tonight in the Sands Desert Room.
Yeah, it's them.
And it's all their names because it was actually filmed in Vegas in all these casinos.
Yeah, okay.
And they were doing it, but it looks like one of the drunkest, most fun movies to be a part of.
Oh, yeah, I bet it was a blast to make.
To the point, even Shirley MacLaine shows up.
Yep.
And she was filming The Apartment at the time. A movie came out the same year, 1960, and she has gone on record to say they offered me a car to show up in this movie, but I did it just to hang out with Frank and the guys and go to some of their shows.
Yeah.
Like she had a couple days off and wanted to go see Frank and the guys perform, and
Right.
they're like, "Hey, you want to kiss Dean in this scene? Cool.
Yeah, you wanna
ring
be-
a ding ding, chickadee."
Yeah, you want to be drunk and just make out with this guy for no
Exactly.
reason?
And again, shocking, completely improvised.
Yeah,
I mean,
of
if you
course.
watch the scene,
Yeah.
you can hear it in the whole dialogue. It's like none of this makes sense.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. The 80s
He's busting balls on Ricky Nelson the whole time, who he had
Right.
just done Rio Bravo with.
Right.
It was a mess of the dialogue was an absolute mess.
Oh, absolute terrible, terrible mess.
But the actual plot of the movie,
Yeah.
okay, Danny Ocean, played by Frank Sinatra, gets his old World War II 82nd Airborne crew together.
Oh, but so let me just do the compare and contrast because because it's very, very
because
simple.
if we do it how we normally do it,
Yeah.
we'll be here forever.
We'll be here forever. So basically, the only things that are like comparable in this movie
Yeah.
is that they perform a heist in Vegas and the guy's name is Danny Ocean
And his wife's name is Tess.
and his wife's name is Tess, and that's like it. That
And there's
is-
11 of them.
And there's 11 of them.
mean,
That's
there-
about it. There's more than that,
You
but
can see similarities.
there are a few similarities.
Elliot
but that's
Gould
it.
plays the rich guy
Yeah.
that Banks rolls them. Don Cheadle was very much Sammy Davis Jr.
Right.
Fun fact, in the HBO biopic on the Rat Pack, Don Cheadle played Sammy Davis Jr.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There you go. So it was almost a natural thing.
Yeah. And so then, other than that, there's really not a whole lot that's similar.
No.
The style is Soderbergh's Ocean's 11 is so much different, and it helps the pacing. Like,
well, Soderbergh made an actual movie.
yeah, Soderbergh made a movie.
I watched it this morning, and I was like, okay.
You made a movie.
I mean, I don't want to say I love the 1960 movie, but for what it is, as a fan of the Rat Pack in that era, and knowing all the goofy shit that was going on behind that movie, it's fun. Now, granted, I watched it again the other day. It's long.
It's long.
Like when they pull off the heist, and you realize there's still an hour and change because now we have the Duke Santos movie played by the fucking Joker.
Yeah, the Joker shows up.
Cesar Romero from the 1960s Batman plays the Joker. Well, he played the Joker in the Batman. He plays Duke Santos, one of the greatest names ever. And just such a, like, every time he's on screen, all I was doing while he was on screen, I just kept saying his name in that voice. Duke Santos. Duke Santos. Duke, like, I wasn't listening to the dialogue because I was just sitting there on my couch going, Duke Santos. I love that name.
Duke Santos.
Of course, he gets his shirt off, barrel-chested as he is.
Yeah, of
course.
course.
Walking out with a scotch and a razor shaving, as you do.
As you do.
And just, oh my God, it was such this era.
Oh, absolutely. Had I known what I was getting into, I think that I would have enjoyed this movie more, but I did not enjoy it. Because I was like, oh, God, this thing is insisting upon itself. And it's like...
It's definitely a movie, and we're going to keep bringing it up, but you forget how long it is.
Right.
But also, it was also part of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Movies were just long.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is they didn't...
Around the World in 80 Days was like 40 hours long.
Yeah.
The Mad World, that was like 6 hours long.
Right. This whole movie is just like... I knew, I was like, uh-oh, when the credits started rolling for the 60s version, and they're literally showing numbers, and I'm like, oh, we're going to get to 11? We're going to, this is what we're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the credits were, everything was long.
You have to indulge everybody in this movie.
Yeah.
And compare and contrast. So the movie starts out, and they're putting their team together. Both. George Clooney, Danny Ocean, Frank Sinatra's Danny Ocean.
Clooney's version, he is not a World War II veteran.
No, he has just been released from prison. Apparently early.
Yeah, because he's a con man. Yeah, because
I will say this, and it's something I always forget until I watch movies like this or was it Out of Sight with Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah, okay.
And George Clooney plays a convincing convict. You just put a beard on him.
Yeah.
Scruff up his hair a little bit. He has that, like, he has a good icy stare. I'll put it that way. But it's also one of those ones you can fall in love with him very easily.
Yeah.
You can go either way. He's either going to shank you in the yard or he's going to take you out for a romantic evening.
Yeah.
Like, in this movie is a great contrast because he's done it in From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
Out of Sight.
Yeah.
Anytime you see a George Clooney mugshot, it's like, I buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're rugged and handsome and dangerous.
And then all of a sudden he shaves and puts on a tuxedo. Like, oh my God, he's man of my dreams.
Yeah, right. You know? Right. Yeah.
Like there's a number of scenes in this where the camera just passes by him, especially towards the end when he's just in the casino.
Yeah, and it's just like, you're handsome.
That's just it. Like
you're handsome.
Like literally, I'm sitting there watching, and the camera just pans by him, and I can hear the inner monologue. I'm just going to sit here and be handsome.
Yeah,
George Clooney.
Right. The George Clooney.
I don't need to say shit. I'm just handsome.
Yeah. So they
So one is a group of paratroopers.
Yeah, former World War II buddies.
And the other is a group of thieves.
Yeah, they're just a professional...
Yeah, they're professional thieves.
They're professional thieves. And so the game plan is, in the original Ocean's movie, they're going to rob the Las Vegas Strip, which consists of five casinos: the Sahara, the Riviera, the Desert Inn, the Sands, and the Flamingo. And in the newer Ocean's movie, there's a boxing movie. There's a big boxing
this
fight.
one takes place on New Year's Eve.
Right.
So at the stroke of midnight is when they're going to rob. In the 2001, the Clooney version, it's a boxing match.
It's a boxing match. So when the boxing match starts, that's when they're all going to do the whole nonsense.
And they're taking down 3.
Right.
The Bellagio, the Mirage, and the MGM Grand. But they're taking it down completely different.
Yeah. Yes.
In 1960, they split the team up to the 5 casinos.
Right.
And they're each going to individually rob a casino.
Yeah. And so it's going to be much more of a team effort to rob all of the casinos.
Right. In 2001, they're all owned by the same guy, Terry Benedict, played by Andy Garcia.
Yep.
and we'll get to Andy Garcia because I have a lot of thoughts on him.
Yeah.
But all of the money is housed in one singular vault underneath the Bellagio.
Yes, and so they're going to just take out that
vault.
one vault.
In brilliant fashion, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Watching this come together, again, I haven't watched this movie probably in a few years, and I was just like, yep, this is a good movie.
Well, that's
this is really, like,
it's well done.
It's a sleeper good movie, because I feel it's because of all the stars in it.
Yeah.
And because of what the sequels became.
Yeah.
It almost, you lost how good the first one really was.
Right, and the issue with the other two movies is that the payoff is unique to the first.
Right.
So you're part, and maybe the original Ocean's movie kind of suffered for this for me, where it's like this is what happened. No, wait, this is what really happened.
Right.
No, wait, this is what really happened. You know, so it's just like that. The Sinatra version didn't have that at all. No. Everything was very much at face value, and I think that's what ultimately makes the other Ocean's movie, the Clooney version, so memorable because of those twists and turns.
I will kind of say this. I like the outcome of the 1960s version a little better.
I do too.
Spoiler alert on a 1960 movie, they don't get away with the money.
No, they don't. They end up burning it all by accident.
One of their guys has a heart attack on the Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
And instead of, because they put the money in his coffin.
Yeah.
And instead of shipping his body, his widow gets convinced by this Vegas coroner guy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it costs a lot of money to ship it out there, and then you got to do the whole service there. Why not just do it here? Okay, fine. We got our pallbearers from the Union House or whatever the fuck they were, the Shriners.
Yeah. Right.
And all of a sudden they hear a noise in the funeral, and it's like, oh, that's they're gonna cremate him with all the fucking money.
Yeah. Right. Right. So they don't make it out with the money. Which was kind of cool, you know, because in the at least films in the 60s, the good guys always.
Well, in any real movie, you always expect them to just get away with the money.
Yeah, right.
This is a different type of twist for a movie like this.
Yeah, they just didn't do it.
Because there really wasn't a bad... I mean, Duke Santos was the worst motherfucker in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And even he wasn't a terrible human being.
No.
I mean, he was just kind of a dick stepfather.
Well, he was a dick stepfather, and then he saw an opportunity to make some money.
Right.
So,
he was dating Peter Lawford's character's mother.
Right. But when he's like, I'm going to find out...
He's also kind of a shady dude.
Right. And so his motives for trying to find the money are not... like altruistic. It's like, oh, I can make a buck.
I'm going to take a third.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted, a third.
Yeah, I'm going to make a buck for finding these people.
Like, I love how he's in that negotiation in the very evil crime villain, very Batman-esque scene with the fireplace and the 5 casino bosses. And he's like, all right, let's pretend I asked for a third and you knock me down to 30%.
Yeah.
And he's looking around the table, he's like, good? We good? Duke Santos.
Yeah, Duke Santos. It was also really funny because in that scene, the 5 casino bosses all acknowledge that they're owned by the mob, but don't actually say it.
I'm gonna look for the guy's name, but fun fact, one of those guys in that scene. Here he is. Okay, George Raft was in that scene as a casino owner, and he actually helped New York mobster Bugsy Siegel finance, promote, and open the Flamingo Hotel.
Yeah.
Fun fact. So there's and again, it's a Sinatra movie. So there's a lot of dabbling in reality.
Yeah, they don't actually say it, but they're like, we all know you have other business partners, and they're going to be mad.
And even one of them even says, he's like, I got partners. I can't make that deal.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like, well, yeah, board of directors? No. Partners, pal.
Yeah, right. So this movie takes forever for them to get to Las Vegas in the 1960s version.
Yeah.
In the other Ocean's movie, they're like, boom, right there.
Right.
They like the movie starts, and
which is amazing because they do so much better at the character building in the 2001.
Yeah.
And it takes half the time.
It's because
they do the same traveling. They go to the locations.
Right. It's the voiceover and stuff. You know, that this is a better use of voiceover. It's Brad Pitt. It's also Brad Pitt.
I'm just going to say it right now because it's been on my mind the whole time watching this movie. Brad Pitt ate in every single scene. Every scene he's in, he's just chewing on something, eating something. I loved it. I fucking loved it. He has something weird and different in every scene. He's sipping on a big gulp, and it's not
he's
like
eating something. Yeah, he's
like
eating
when Matt Damon is kind of stalking Julia Roberts, or watching or whatever he's doing, and he's just sitting there in the middle of a casino with a big giant bowl of shrimp cocktail, popping them in his mouth, and I'm like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. They explained that that was Brad Pitt's doing.
Yeah, of course it was.
Like, Brad Pitt made it, and his reasoning behind it is that Rusty's a recovering smoker.
Oh.
And so in order...
Interesting backstory.
Yeah. That's what Brad Pitt's come out and said, is that he was a smoker.
I figured he was hungry.
Yeah, no, he was...
Because you can tell he's really enjoying a lot of these foods.
Yeah, right. He's just a smoker, and he's trying to keep his hands and mouth occupied during the...
That is funny.
During this the movie.
That is very, very funny. So we're meeting the whole gang, and... Where do we want to go? Like, how do we want to jump right into this? Because the Clooney Oceans, like, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, everything makes far more sense.
The Sinatra version, there is a lot of just fluff and ballyhoo and just, there's like 3 scenes with Dean Martin just playing piano and singing "Ain't That a Kick in the Head." It's like, I mean, they say in the trailer,
right?
They say in the fucking trailer, he's just sitting there doing boozy piano tunes.
Yeah.
All right, get to the movie.
Right. The movie just kind of insists on itself. And the other thing that happens in this movie is the 1960s movie that they do far better in the Ocean's 11 Clooney movie is explain what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just show you in the 1960s movie, like, they're just like, hey, these are infrared goggles, and we're just going to pass this can around, and we're going to spray doors.
The tech was so terrible.
Yeah, it's like, we're just going to... Mm-hmm. They don't explain that the plan is going to be, we're going to throw it out and then have Sammy Davis Jr. come in with a trash truck.
Nope.
You know, like, at no point do they ever say what their plan is. And then, like, yeah, it's just, there's not a lot of explanation. And usually that's...
And again, that's because they weren't following the script. I bet the script had exposition up the ass.
Right.
I bet these guys wrote the whole thing out, and Frank's just like, cool. Not going to do that.
Yeah, no, not going to do that.
I'm going to chuck my head to the left and look at Dean and be like, hey, dummy, you know, what do you want to do? Well, let's rob these fuckers. You know?
Yeah, right.
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Right. Whereas, like, Clooney's movie, it's just, like, to the T.
Oh, yeah.
And it presents Danny Ocean. Clooney's Danny Ocean is far more meticulous.
Yeah.
And it paints him as more of this, like, criminal mastermind.
Especially when we learn... that he has ulterior motives behind it. It becomes, I guess meticulous at work.
Yeah, meticulous.
I had another word, but it left my head.
Yeah, and so, you look at it, and it's just like, Danny Ocean's a far more three-dimensional character, where it's just like, in Sinatra's version, they, like, paint him as this guy that is, like, a card shark that's not too good at it.
No. And...
all of a sudden just decides that he's going to get his buddies together to do this.
Yeah.
Which is basically the movie.
Pretty much.
In a nutshell.
Again, I would love to read the script.
Yeah, the original script.
Because I bet the script had a lot of explanation that just isn't...
in the movie.
Because, like I said, it looks like once you know how they filmed it, which is 90... I mean, let's put it this way. Frank Sinatra invented the mockumentary. It wasn't Christopher Guest. This is, what I mean? He did the improv shit. But it was basically he heard the Peter Lawford story and never bothered to read a line of dialogue.
Right.
He just said, okay, cool, I know what I'm going to do. I know how to get to A to B to C, and I'm just going to say words in the middle.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Because it was just a bunch of dudes getting together and breaking each other's balls for months in Vegas.
Because it's like, they did such a poor job introducing who everybody was and why they were there to do the things they needed to do. And again, the Clooney version is just like, oh yeah, no. Yeah,
it does come across as someone who hasn't read the script.
Yeah. It's like
exactly.
Yeah.
So the Clooney version now, while the Sinatra version was always the Rat Pack, the Clooney version's cast was quite different at a time.
Yeah.
Let me see here. So let's see. January 2000, it was announced that Warner was moving forward with the Steven Soderbergh development on Ocean's 11, starring George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts. At the time, Matt Damon's character was originally cast as Johnny Depp.
Okay.
Instead of Casey Affleck and Scott Conn, it was Luke and Owen Wilson.
Okay.
As the Malloy twins. However, they were obviously committed to Royal Tenenbaums, couldn't do it. A lot of the reasons people dropped out of this movie was either scheduling or money.
Yeah.
Because it was said that Warner Brothers was asking all these actors to to err on the side of an affordable budget.
Yeah, right.
Because it was a giant cast.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it was every who's who at that time in
Well,
2001.
and I want to think that this was one of the first movies that had the star-studded
giant-
A-list
yeah.
cast.
Mike Myers, Bruce Willis, Ewan McGregor, Alan Arkin, and Ray Fiennes were all in the cast. Joel and Ethan Coen were originally considered to replace the Wilson brothers.
Oh, weird.
Not direct.
Yeah, just be in the movie.
Just be the Malloy brothers.
That's so funny.
Mark Wahlberg was cast after Johnny Depp and couldn't do it because he was doing Planet of the Apes.
Oh, bad choice.
Bad choice. I just want to say it right now. Scott Conn is one of my favorite people in the world. Not one of my favorite actors.
I
but
love Scott
He
Conn.
just has. It's like
He's fun in everything that he's in.
he has very much his father's attitude, just without the malicious "I'm gonna smack a bitch in a moment" type
Yeah.
side of it.
Yes.
It's more fun.
Yeah, it
but you
is.
can tell he's like one of the most confident dudes ever.
Yeah, I absolutely love. I love him in Hawaii Five-0.
Yep.
He's a tough, very fun as Dano.
He looks like a dude I would love to grab a beer with.
Yeah, and then obviously a movie that we'll eventually do, Ready to Rumble.
Right? Oh, absolutely. I figured that was going to be one of our watch-alongs.
Yeah. Yes.
We turn a camera on Bill. We get Jason down here. We do the whole deal.
Yeah. Of
That's
course.
got to be done.
It has to be.
But also Boiler Room.
Yeah. Yes.
Loved him in Boiler Room.
Yeah.
Again, just he seems like that fun, scrappy son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Much like his dad.
Yes.
For those of you that don't know, his dad is James Caan.
Yeah. His dad's James Caan. He was in a movie. He was in this little movie called The Godfather.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about it. Google it. It was before most of you kids were born, so
Yeah.
you might not have seen it. I
might.
love that excuse.
Yeah. It's an old movie. Hey, Bill, have you seen that old movie, Aliens?
Great line.
The one with Susan Sarandon?
Yes. The one, yes. The one with Susan Sarandon.
But the cast ended up being rounded out. Of course, George Clooney and Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, Andy Garcia, Eddie James was Livingston Dell, Elliot Gould, Carl Reiner was fantastic in this, Casey Affleck, Scotty Conn, Bernie Mac, Don Cheadle, Matt Damon, and Chabot Quinn was the amazing Yen.
Yeah.
It was the hardest name, that's why I left it for the end.
Yeah, of course.
I am terrible with names.
Sorry, Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke.
Oh, no.
Oh, I thought you.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke too.
I was like, oh, Bill's doing a joke. Bill's doing a joke.
Nope.
Bill's doing bits.
That was a
Bill's
straight-
doing bits.
That was a straight brain fart.
He was
on my
just
end.
wrong. Don Cheadle was uncredited in this movie, and he was uncredited because it was a dispute over billing. He wanted an above the title credit next to Damon, Pitt, and Clooney, and when they refused, he said, well, don't fucking credit me at all.
That's very interesting.
He was given an over the title credit in the sequels.
Okay.
But yeah, in this one, there was a little bit of a dispute. And like I said, fun fact, he played Sammy Davis Jr. in the Rat Pack movie from HBO.
Yeah. Right.
And
like-
I mean, that was virtually, even though there was two black guys in this one, he was the Sammy Davis Jr.
He
He was
was.
driving the truck around.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
blowing stuff up. That was him.
Yeah, he was the Sammy Davis Jr. character.
Interesting choice on the accent. I will say that for Don
Yeah.
Cheadle. It was very much like, and I'm sure Don Cheadle took a lot of voice lessons and stuff, but it felt like a guy who just on a whim.
Yeah.
I showed up for the first day, had been reading it straight the whole time, and just go, yeah, I'm gonna do an English accent. Never done one before. Fuck it.
Yeah, right. It was like, why?
And it was like every little Cockney thing, but not done fluidly.
Right.
It was like, I'm going to say a Cockney word here.
It was very disjointed,
Is
is the way I would describe it.
The Barney thing was like, okay.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this in theaters. It didn't get a laugh then either.
Yeah.
It was just like, everybody's like, cool.
Right.
You can rhyme. I guess that's British.
Right. So they end up robbing the casinos. Because there's so much nonsense that happens. We could be here all day in both movies.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also, Danny Glover was originally cast as Bernie Mac's role.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's interesting. Yeah. So the teams are basically made up to be very, very different.
Yes.
Because in the Ocean's 11 Sinatra version,
Well, one is drunk, and the other is very precision.
yeah, right. Well, it's like
One is soaked in alcohol.
Yeah.
The other just dabbles.
Yeah. Yes.
One's a social drinker. One you're worried about.
Yeah, right. And it's so weird because it just feels like instead of one team, they just made 5. They made 5 teams.
Yeah.
And then Sinatra's just there.
Well, yeah. I feel in both movies they kind of kept with that theme that Danny Ocean was in. I mean, he went so far as to explain it again. if you read the script, it might come out. I don't know. I haven't read
Yeah.
the script. But in the 2001 version, it was explained that Danny Ocean was actually blacklisted from the
Right.
casino once Andy Garcia realized he was there.
Right.
In this one, it's kind of implied they know who he is. Like, everybody
Yeah.
in the casino knows who Danny Ocean is.
Right.
So he's kind of got eyeballs on him.
Right.
But he does partake in the robbery. I mean,
Yeah.
he's there when they're in classic criminal fashion, making everybody sing.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I'd be like,
That was so
I would be
weird.
like, shut the fuck up, just be quiet, because we don't have guns, and we're not going to shoot anybody.
Yeah, that whole thing was the actual way that it was executed in the 1960s version, where it was kind of brilliant, but it was also very much a sign of the times.
Again, in theory, it
Yeah.
made a lot of sense. It's stroke of midnight, everybody starts singing Old Lang Syne, and the lights go out,
Right.
and they do the robbery.
Right.
Now, making everybody sing the fucking song, because if somebody put a gun in my face that said "Sing Old Lang Syne," I'm like, I don't know the words.
Yeah. Right.
Happy birthday to you. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Right. Right. But
And why does everybody have candles? Everybody, I mean, maybe I didn't grow up in the 60s, but maybe everybody just kept candles on their desk.
Yeah, maybe.
What the fuck was that? Like, in a moment, they all were just like, okay, candles.
I guess we're just gonna do candles.
Candles.
Yeah. It was just very interesting because it's so basic.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, we're gonna cut the power to the casinos, and then we're just gonna take the money.
She's going to take the money.
And it's like, oh, well, that's very 1960s of you.
Sure.
Whereas like now there's like redundancies and
Well, that's why it
backup
made a lot more
generators.
sense, because when they blew the power in 2001, he's like, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's only going to be black for 30 fucking seconds. And it was just to get Clooney and Damon down that shaft.
Right.
Just away from the
lasers.
Mission Impossible lasers.
Yeah, the Mission Impossible lasers.
Which they were so Mission Impossible in that.
Yeah.
Got them
The
black
suits.
tight leather numbers, and they're
Yeah,
hanging
the
off a cable.
suits, yeah,
Wonderful.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing. But it's very interesting.
Duke Santos.
Yeah, Duke Santos. He's not in this. He's not in the sequel.
I love it.
He's not in the sequel, or he's not in the reboot. Which is
There's only
unfortunate.
two cameos. Henry Silva and
Yeah.
Angie Dickinson are both at the fight.
Yeah,
In my theory, I haven't checked everybody, but most of them are dead.
yeah. I think they're all dead.
Yeah.
Because at that point, Sinatra's definitely dead, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he die in like
98? He died.
Yeah. Okay.
But they all died. I was trying to look at some of it. I know he died in 98. They're all like in their 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah, because they just smoked and drank and
I gotta lay back
did
on
a
the booze.
bunch of coke.
I got 20 years left, I guess.
Yeah. The clock's ticking.
Let's get as many of these shows out of here.
Yeah, clock's ticking, man. Yeah, and basically there is one thing. Is it this movie or is it one of the sequels where Tess Ocean, her whole thing is that she looks like Julia Roberts.
Sequel.
That's the sequel.
And that was a sequel when Bruce Willis was in it.
Okay.
Because Bruce Willis playing Bruce Willis
Yeah.
recognizes Tess Ocean as Julia Roberts, starts talking to her as Julia
Okay.
Roberts. And there's a whole weird paradox that happens, because if they exist, how does he not think this guy's fucking George
Clooney, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We could do a whole mini pod on the sequels.
I know. Yeah. Well, because that's my biggest issue with the sequels. Is
They go so far off the rails. It's like
Right.
real fast. Like I remember watching Ocean's 12 in the theater, and there's a solid 3 to 4 minute scene in the middle of the movie,
Yeah.
where it literally looks like Soderbergh set the camera up on a tripod and walked out of the room and left the actors with an open bar,
Yeah.
because there's no dialogue. It's just them kind of montaging around the room, chalking back booze, and I'm just like, I remember that being in the theater, like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. What are we doing?
What point are we making here?
What are we doing?
Booze is fun with your friends.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, I think they saw the original movie and were like,
that was actually the remake of the original Ocean's 12.
That was the original remake. They were like, let's just do that. Yeah. But yeah, so they execute the robbery under the cover of darkness,
Yes.
and basically the
Both
power,
actually do.
Yeah, both do. And so they basically, in the original one, they end up just throwing it in bags and throwing it in the trash and letting Sammy Davis Jr. come and pick it up.
There was a lot of luck involved in that one. I mean, what if that wasn't his route?
Yeah.
He had 5 to pick up.
Right.
I'm sorry. Is there only one? There's only one trash truck
That
that's
goes
picking
to-
up all the trash
For
in
all the
one run.
Yeah.
For all the casinos.
Yeah, it's nonsensical.
Now, granted, that could have just been a bunch of bullshit, and he could have just shown up to each
I
one
think-
and just grabbed that barrel. That makes a little bit more sense now that I'm starting to think about it.
I think that's what it was, because why is the trash truck coming in the middle of the night?
Great line by Sammy Davis Jr. at the end, which of course was improvised, when the Lawford Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra are putting the shoe polish on their face to kind of disguise themselves.
Yeah.
And he just goes, I knew this color would come in handy at some point.
Yeah.
Great line. And very much, if you know anything about the Rat Pack, very their type of humor. Because in their stage shows, it was a lot about making fun of Sammy's race and religion. He's Jewish and black.
He's black and Jewish.
Yeah. Fun fact about that, well, not so much fun, but it ended up being fun. He wasn't allowed to stay in the casino during filming.
Really?
Because they were still segregated in 1960. And after the first week, it basically took Sinatra muscling the fucking casino to get him to stay in there, and he did.
Yeah.
So basically, this movie, Ocean's 11, broke the color barrier in Las Vegas. There you go.
That's its legacy.
There you go.
The other thing, too, is now that you think about it, Sammy Davis Jr. never shows up at the casino.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was more by design, by writing. I don't think that was part of the segregation thing. Because, like I said, it only took a few days to a week for Sinatra to be like, that's not happening, pal. We're pulling shit. You know what? I'm going to call Sammy Kahn out in Chicago. You know?
Yeah, right. Right. I'll call my people, and he'll talk to your people.
Right. You know John Kennedy? Yeah, I got him in the office.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a lot of Kennedy references in the dialogue. There's the scene when, very as natural as it can be, when Peter Lawford is having the massage in the beginning of the movie, and Sinatra comes in and starts playing telephone tag like a 13-year-old with the old man.
Yeah.
And then he immediately, like, all right, dames, get your dizzy asses out of my hotel. Like, he really, like, oof.
Yeah.
It doesn't age well.
No.
The dialogue towards women in the 1960 version does not age well
Not
in
at
2018
all.
culture, but...
well, Dean Martin just makes out with a drunk chick.
Well, that still happens. Come on.
Yeah, but he's sober.
Hang out with
doesn't
me on a
look good.
Tuesday night.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
But there was in that scene a lot of Kennedy references.
Yeah.
You know, because it was part of the times and it was part of their life. And since they didn't read the script, they needed something to talk about.
Right.
I mean, they might as well have talked to fucking drop his name in there. But yes, so Sammy Davis Jr. throws everything away, picks everything up, and then they got to get the money out of town.
Yeah, basically.
And like we mentioned earlier, it's done by putting it in a coffin because their friend just had a heart attack in the street.
Well, because at the beginning of the movie, he's like, I don't want any part of this.
Yeah, he was the moral compass.
Yeah,
he had the kid.
I just got out of prison.
In a literal translation, he was the Carl Reiner in this.
Yeah.
He was retired. Carl Reiner was retired playing the
Right.
dogs, and he just got out of prison and wanted to spend time with his kid.
Yeah, right. And so he finds out he's dying, and so he wants to set his kid up
Right.
for,
that was his moral compass, was am I going to have enough for my kid to go through school?
Right. And
Carl Reiner was just, oh, you're taking over Terry Bennett? I got that.
yeah.
Cool. I'm bored.
Yeah, I'm bored. I don't care. Yeah.
Sitting at the dog track, eating oranges and playing the ponies.
Playing the puppies.
Puppies, yeah.
Playing the puppies.
With Brad Pitt still eating at the box seats.
Oh, absolutely. And so you have everything in the 2001 version just feels tighter.
Mm-hmm.
It just everything.
It is.
Everything is just tighter.
It's because it is.
I enjoyed that movie far more. I loved
because there was structure.
Right, there was structure and dialogue. And scripts and stuff.
Written dialogue, scripts. You know.
Yeah. When you realize that when Danny Ocean comes in as the SWAT team,
the ending is fucking brilliant.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
And I think that ultimately that's what I was...
Right at the jump-off point when he has his buddy come in to be the guy to kick his ass.
Right.
It's like, oh, shit, cool.
Yeah.
And now we're off and running. He goes up the fucking fire chute. You wonder why Bruce Willis was casting this.
Right.
Half of the ending takes place in a fucking air vent.
Yeah, right.
On an elevator shaft. They're like, Die Hard? All right, let's get a Bruce Willis. Well, let's get Bruce Willis.
Let's get Bruce Willis.
No. Bruce will only play himself in this series.
Yeah, he will only play Bruce Willis. But it's just, I kind of think I was expecting that.
What?
That ending in the 1960s version. And while I did ultimately like them accidentally burning all of the money,
Right.
the 2001 version ending
As Duke Santos sits at the back maniacally twisting a very fake $10,000 bill band.
Yeah, right. Right. Well, I mean, that's the only thing. I wish Duke Santos was in the 2001 movie now retroactively.
Sure, Cesar Romero is dead.
Oh, no, Cesar Romero is definitely dead. But I just wish the Duke Santos character was there.
Well, I mean...
That's kind of Benedict.
It's a cross between Benedict and Danny Ocean.
Yeah.
Because even in the end, he kind of throws that Duke Santos-y line, I can get your money back because I'll call a guy who knows a guy who is in the joint with me, which, again, Terry Benedict's like, you know a guy from the joint?
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, right.
Because all the while, he knows Danny stole his fucking money.
Right.
But he just can't prove it.
Right, exactly.
As for Andy Garcia, I loved how he portrayed inner tension.
Yeah.
He walked around with a million things going on in his head.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole fucking time. And he just keeps that low, almost a whisper tone the whole time with complete fucking confidence.
Yeah.
Until the end.
When he freaks out.
When he just yells at his security head, find out how they got into my fucking vault!
Yeah.
Wow, that was... And it takes you back. Because
Right.
he's not just shouting and going crazy the whole time.
No.
He's just like, no, calm down. Everybody's watching.
Yeah, he's keeping everything very close to the vest.
Oh, my God, yeah.
You can feel the panic inside.
Just the control. Very much a control freak. And you can see that in the Matt Damon following him scene.
Right.
Where it's like he's like he said, he's a machine.
Right.
He gets up at like 6 o'clock. He gets to the office. He does his thing. He works his ass off. He's on the floor by 7 p.m. He's talking to the high rollers. He's doing this. He spends time with his pit boss. He wants to know what's
Right.
happening in all his casinos. Does this. Gets his new codes because they change the locks every fucking night.
Yeah.
Does this, and then of course we are introduced to Tess. He's like, then he has dinner with the woman.
Right.
And that's when we realize the ulterior motive.
Right. That he is dating Danny Ocean's wife.
Yep. So it's not just about taking down 3
Yeah.
Las Vegas casinos. It's also about taking down the guy that's fucking your wife.
Yeah, right. And
Ex-wife.
and it's so great. It's just
And they accomplish both.
They do accomplish both.
They ruin that relationship and they get the money.
Yeah, so win-win.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the removal of the money scene. And I remember seeing the first time in the theater and it was one of those like, oh shit.
Yeah, right.
Because each step of the way, they're showing you how they're doing it.
Right.
But they're not.
Right, exactly.
And when they flip that switch and it's like, oh, we've been watching a video. Well, you've been watching a video of a video because we're still
Right.
doing this shit.
Yeah.
And now the cops are taking all the money out.
Right.
In different bags because, of course, they had to... The X's on the bags was one of the... You had to put it there so people would visually have
See
an
them.
idea.
Which
Those are the
ones-
fake bags. Because the cops are actually carrying out just straight black bags without
Right.
the X on them. The remote control car bit.
Oh, yeah.
When they introduced the Malloy brothers, seems like a goofy throwaway joke,
Yeah.
but ends up coming back because they're remote control driving the car.
Well, and that's the thing is everything in this movie is meticulous
Right.
and has a payoff. This is what happens when somebody like Soderbergh is making a movie.
Yeah. I mean, we'll never know what we could have gotten with 1960 because they didn't read the script.
Yeah, yeah, right. We'll never know. We'll never know.
They could have been the most brilliant movie ever. They could have won Oscars for that movie if they read the script
Right.
and followed it
And
instead of just spending a couple months drinking in Vegas,
yeah. Yeah.
doing fake robberies.
So in your estimation, what does each film do well and what does each film do poorly?
The 1960 version captures the time very well.
Yeah.
It is 60s Rat Pack Vegas.
Right.
Literally, it's almost. This could be a fucking documentary,
Right.
about what it's like to hang out with the Rat Pack
In
in
Vegas.
1960 in Vegas.
Right.
They are the kings of the town. They just have fun all the time, drinking, smoking, womenizing. That's what they do.
Yeah, right.
And what it does poorly, I think we've pointed out many times. Make
Yeah.
a movie.
yeah.
They made a movie very poorly.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Frank Sinatra is an Academy Award-winning actor.
And it's shocking. I know.
Can you believe that? You know, Manchurian Candidate was actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
But they did. It wasn't just this movie. They made a bunch. Like once this came out,
Yeah.
this was actually for the time successful because
Oh,
of
yeah.
who they are. It was. I mean, it was a star power movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This kind of the whole thing with the Rat Pack kind of feels to me the same way you look at
I mean, making $5 million in 1960 is pretty fucking good.
right. It's
You know
like
what I mean?
Sean Pegg, like the Cornetto Trilogy.
Oh yeah.
Those movies.
Simon Pegg,
Simon Pegg. What did
Shaun
I-
of the Dead.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said Sean Pegg.
Sean
You
Pegg.
combined the two.
Yeah, I did.
Character, actor,
Yeah. Character actor Sean Pegg.
fictional characters.
Yeah. But it feels like a bunch of friends getting together to make a movie.
Yeah. Only they read the script.
Only they read the script.
Yeah.
You know, whereas that's what the Rat Pack felt like. It felt like a bunch of friends getting together to make a movie.
It was.
I definitely, looking at the 2001 version, I thought that they executed the twists of this movie very, very well. I thought that the pacing and like character arcs were great in this movie. I think that there was just a little.
I thought Brad Pitt's fashion was phenomenal.
Brad
God, I would love to have collars like that.
Brad Pitt's fashion in every movie is phenomenal.
This was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Brad Pitt before we keep going. His lack of fucks that he portrayed was awesome.
Yeah.
And there's a scene in it that is one of my favorite scenes in all of movies because he says nothing. It's when they're finally deciding to get the 11th guy. And it's him and Clooney, and Brad Pitt's laying on the bar, and Clooney is sitting behind him with a drink. And they're both just staring off in the distance. Neither one's looking at each other, and Clooney's just going, so that's 10. You think we need 11? So you're saying we think we need 11. And Brad Pitt doesn't even move. He doesn't blink. He just sits there just not caring. He is burnt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in that silence is his character.
Oh yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, Rusty is awesome.
The weird cameos in the beginning where he's teaching the teen actors, Topher Grace, Joshua Jackson, Holly Marie Combs, how to play poker. What was it Shane West?
Yeah.
How to actually play poker, and none of them give a shit.
No.
And then Danny Ocean comes in and sharks all of them.
Yeah. Also, I do have to say that Brad Pitt does a better job of playing the right-hand man than Henry Silva does.
You mean Dean Martin?
Well, Dean Martin is...
Martin and Peter Lawford were the two right-hand men.
I mean, Peter Lawford. That's what
Henry
I meant.
Silva was the big scary-looking motherfucker.
Yeah, I meant Peter
Lawford. But yeah, Peter Lawford wasn't a fantastic actor.
No, he was not.
He was just a rich friend of Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, not a bad thing to be in 1960, though.
No, definitely not a bad thing.
I would take his floppy force.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sure.
That's a phrase.
Sure.
Wow. There's a T-shirt for you. Floppy force. That movie show.
As you do.
As you do. Yeah. So I think
I thought the remake did a lot of things right.
it's just a way better movie.
It's a movie.
It's
a movie. I mean,
it's a very well done movie.
Yes. I'm trying to think of something I would point to as a negative. Go ahead. I can hear you breathing.
It's just like I can't even. I'm trying to think.
It's not a perfect movie.
No, it's not. But none of the things that it does poorly are backbreakers.
I feel that the stuff that I would point out that it did poorly, they cleaned up.
Right.
Because it's like, maybe Danny's emotions for Tess getting in the way thing, that's kind of being a shoehorn. We need a woman in here type of deal.
Right.
But they clean it back up.
Right. And that's
maybe his relationship with Rusty, once Rusty finds out about Tess, maybe that, but they clean it back up.
Right.
Everything they do that I'm like, oh, that seems very shoehorned, has a purpose in the last scene.
Right, exactly. Everything in that movie was done on purpose. And so those things that do come up like that, yeah, that's it, you're right. It's like, holy shit, you did it on purpose, you maniacs.
The only thing I would say they could have done better, I feel it was and again, by design probably, this was the most subtle Bernie Mac performance ever.
Yeah. I told you, I met Bernie Mac, right?
I did not know that. Mighty jealous of you.
So when I was younger, I did a movie called What's the Worst That Could Happen?
Oh, I was at acting school when you guys were filming in Boston.
Oh, yeah. So then I was there. Yeah. Then I was literally there.
Danny DeVito and Martin Lawrence. Terrible movie.
Terrible movie. But yeah, I'm in a scene with him and John Leguizamo, Lenny Clark, Martin Lawrence.
As you do in Boston.
yeah, as you do. And yeah, I got to meet Bernie Mac, and it was so funny. It was so funny, and I'll tell the full story off air because there's some colorful stuff that happens.
Some non-2018 type language.
Yeah,
gotcha.
All said by Bernie Mac.
Of course.
But Bernie Mac walked around on set with the fake Austin Powers teeth and just talked with a huge Southern accent just to fuck with everybody.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, so that was...
speaking of Austin Powers, the wig that Brad Pitt is wearing at the end as the Doctor was Mike Myers' rehearsal wig in Austin Powers.
That's so funny.
There's another little fun fact of trivia for you.
There it is.
But yeah, I feel that... and again, I don't know... Because the character Bernie Mac is playing isn't a jokester in the movie.
No.
But there's... it's almost like the scene with the vans and the car salesman. That was when they just like, all right, Bernie, go ahead, have your fun.
Yeah,
Because the
right.
whole lotion thing is straight out of his stand-up bit.
Oh yeah.
Like that was straight out of his stand-up act. And I'm like, that's the only thing. Like I was, like, you see Bernie Mac in a movie, you want Bernie Mac in a movie.
right.
But the fact that they kind of downplayed it, and again, they did that right. They cleaned it up, if
Yeah,
you will.
everything is just cleaner.
I can't say it's a negative because
Right.
they made it work so good. Especially the scene when Damon is playing the gaming commission guy, and he has Bernie Mac in the interrogation room, and it all becomes racist, and it's like, what is... That's fantastic. And Bernie Mac didn't say like more than 2 words.
Yeah.
He just sat there and said, goddamn cracker.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all he fucking said.
Yeah.
And just let Damon and Garcia play the whole thing off.
They did a great job. I thought, this is an example of when Hollywood takes its time with movies.
Yeah.
Because and I didn't come up with a list of them, but there are several examples where it's like, hey, there's something here in this older film.
Right.
Let's take it, redo it, and make the movie that they should have made in the first place. And this is a prime example of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not excited to see Ocean's 8. I don't think I'm going to.
I'm not like, I don't have as much adverse feelings towards it as I did when the Ghostbusters came out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to compare these because it's not a woman thing.
No.
It's just an unnecessary reboot thing.
Right. This
gets lost in translation a lot, and this we talked about it upstairs when we did the Michael Jai White thing, which you can find on the archives, by the way, at newageinsiders.com right now. Michael Jai White, thank you, Black Dynamite. But when we were upstairs watching the basketball game,
Right.
and I was talking about Oscar from The Office calling me an asshole on Twitter
Right.
for making fun of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It wasn't about women. It had nothing to do with women.
Yeah.
The joke I made wasn't against women. It was against an unnecessary reboot of a classic movie.
Well, there was a movie, and it came out a couple weeks ago. I'm going to try and pull it up. But my issue with this Ocean's movie that's coming out, again, the Ghostbusters thing is a little different.
And again, I don't want to sit here and try to armchair quarterback the movie, but I do feel that they missed a step by not making it a Tess Ocean movie.
Right. Oh, no, definitely.
If you're going to do what you're going to do, which
So
you're going to make a female reboot of it, which is what it is. I hate to put a label on it like that, but that's what it is.
Yeah. So,
why not at least have a built-in story?
Right. You shoehorn it by the fact that
I understand Tess wasn't a thief, but she could have learned.
Sandra Bullock is Danny Ocean's estranged sister. That's the connection.
Oh, is it? Are you being factual?
That is what it says on the IMDb.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That's even worse.
Yeah, and so it's like, that's unfortunate.
That's shoehorning for shoehorning's sake.
Right. So there was another.
That's shoehorning because they're hoping to get a Clooney fucking cameo somewhere in there.
Yeah, probably.
Which it wouldn't surprise me if, we gotta stay through 40 minutes of credits to get a Danny Ocean cameo.
Yeah, to get a Danny Ocean.
What's her name, Danielle?
Her name. Yeah. Her name is not Danielle, but her name is Debbie Ocean.
Oh, fuck off.
Debbie Ocean.
They're not even trying.
Danny and Debbie Ocean.
I'm sorry. And again, I need to preface this by saying this has nothing to do with them being women.
I'm trying to.
The people making these movies aren't trying.
For some odd reason, my internet isn't working.
Mine's slow too.
IMDb isn't.
But I'd rather Bill be live than have us be able to Wikipedia shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was another movie that came out and recently.
Okay.
That it didn't need the title of being.
Oh, we've had this conversation.
Of being something related to another franchise.
Because they're taking old IPs and turning them into brand new movies that have no connection
to the other ones.
The one I always point out is a movie that most people haven't seen, which is the Nicolas Cage remake of Bad Lieutenant.
Yeah, right.
Bad Lieutenant was a great indie, gritty, Harvey Keitel-led movie directed by Abel Ferrara. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it. It's rough.
Right.
It's fucking rough of a movie. If you go watch it, you better have not be sensitive. But
Sure.
The remake was Nicolas Cage, and it was called Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. Now, that title sucks on ice.
Yeah, it does.
But if they had just called it a bad title, let's say Port of Call, New Orleans, and not included it being part of the Bad Lieutenant universe, if you will,
right.
it would have been a 5% better movie.
Right.
I would have given it a 45% instead of a 40. It wasn't a great movie. Nicolas Cage couldn't pick an accent to go with. He was very Nicolas Cagey in the whole thing.
Yeah, just all over the place.
But that's a great example of there's no need to associate this with an old IP because all people are going to do is go into it comparing.
Right.
And you're going to lose.
Well, and then
if you don't hold up.
right, yeah. Well,
Like there are some that I'm like, okay, that works. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
right.
for example, when Michael Bay originally was the producer on the original remake of it, and of course that's going to get people pissing and moaning, but I liked it.
Right.
The one that came out, I forget what year it was, but it was around 2001 ish. But that first one I liked, and I feel what they've done with the series, while there's been a misstep or two, I feel has been pretty positive for the franchise. Take on another hand, though, you got Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Those reboots did not work.
No.
Nightmare on Elm Street didn't work because it wasn't Robert Englund behind Freddy Krueger, and it was a lot creepier. And as someone who likes creepy cinema, that was a bit too child rapey for my liking.
It was. They really
leaned into that shit. Yeah. And Jason was just bad.
Yeah.
The Jason they made, I think it was 2013.
Yeah, the one
with Joey Kern.
Yeah.
From the opening scene of Super Troopers. Yeah, it just wasn't good.
No.
But
don't know.
But those movies you can't like disassociate. If you're gonna have Jason Voorhees as a killer, you can't be like, this isn't a Friday the 13th movie.
Right.
But you could have taken that and made the killer something else.
Right.
He didn't have to be Jason in that movie.
Right. Right. And that's more or less kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like, we don't need another Jason movie. Let's just set it in something else and have it be an homage to.
I don't mind if they make a Jason movie. I just don't think there needs to be a Jason reboot, which is what they were trying to do.
Right.
It's like they're trying to start all over again. It's like, no, you've got 30 years of story.
Right. Just keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the fact that things need
Jason's been to Manhattan and space. Keep going.
Yeah. And hell.
Yes.
And hell. So
I like that one. I know I get a lot of shit for liking Jason Goes to Hell, but I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that's the one with the psychic, right?
Kind of ish. It's where he embodies other bodies. I think people's biggest complaint was Jason himself wasn't on screen a lot.
Okay.
Because he's inhabiting other bodies because they're like ripping his heart out and putting it in, eating hearts and shit.
Okay.
It was weird, but it was a Jason movie.
I'm also sitting here thinking, I saw the end because that's where we get the Freddy
Freddy
Krueger.
Glove. That was the crossover. Yeah.
That was the beginning of that. So I remember that.
And I liked the crossover movie. Jason vs. Freddy.
I love Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think I'm gonna enjoy the Halloween coming out this year, right?
I loved the Rob Zombie one.
I did too. Again, another series that gets a lot of shit. And Rob Zombie's last few efforts haven't been fantastic. Lords of Salem wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was almost like I felt like after Devil's Rejects, studios just kind of let Rob do whatever he wanted to do because they didn't understand his thinking.
Yeah.
However, there was two movies. There was Lords of Salem and 31.
Okay.
That felt very much like he had 100% creative control behind, and
Yeah.
that wasn't a good thing.
No.
There should have been somebody being like, all right, take 20 minutes out.
Yeah, right.
However, he just wrapped filming on 3 from Hell, which is the third in the House of 1,000 Corpses Devil's Reject series.
House of 1,000 Corpses was so creepy.
That was out there, too, and that one I would love to do sometime because there's a lot that people don't know about that movie.
Yeah, okay, we can do that.
I remember seeing the original trailer when Universal had it 2 years before it came out.
Yeah, okay.
Because Universal dropped it,
Yeah.
and it was in purgatory for like 2 years until Lionsgate came around and said, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
But he just wrapped on that one. And yeah, the Halloweens, I liked them.
Yeah.
I thought they were great. I thought they were grisly as fuck. And I know it goes against me saying we don't need a new origin story because we got one.
Right.
But it was like, I liked it.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect again.
No.
There was missteps here and there. It was long. You know?
Yeah, right.
But as you do with Rob Zombie.
Yeah. So now that we've officially talked with Rob Zombie, I think we're over Oceans.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like we said, positives and negatives. The 1961 was very much a time capsule.
Right.
It's a time capsule movie. It's a very great example of what it was like in that era, especially having all of the Rat Pack in the movie.
Right.
Being in Vegas, I mean, it is what it is. The 2001 version was a movie.
Yeah.
It was an actual
Film.
cinema
It was film that they made.
You know, it wasn't, while it was a bunch of friends getting together and making a movie, it wasn't just a bunch of friends getting together and turning a camera on and
Right.
then riffing.
Yeah.
There was plot, there was story, there was dialogue, there was,
Yeah, it was well executed.
there was
from top to bottom.
Absolutely, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, it's a
Oh,
good
absolutely.
movie. And I said it earlier. I feel it's a sleeper good movie because of what the sequels did.
Right.
Because the sequels kind of went off the rails a bit.
Yeah.
Especially once they got to the third one with Ellen Barkin and Al Pacino.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever. They're
They are what they are.
they're good for cable movies. If they're on, I'll probably sit there and watch them.
That's exactly.
And
what
most
I
of
was
it's
gonna
because
say.
Clooney is charming as fuck.
Yeah, Clooney.
You know,
Clooney's handsome.
as a heterosexual man, I can say charming as fuck. Even though I can't say heterosexual man straight.
Yeah, because you're so distracted by Clooney.
Every time he's on screen, I just feel like he is handsome.
You're handsome.
Handsome. And this is a movie with Brad Pitt.
I know, and Brad Pitt is handsome.
He is handsome.
Oh God! All right.
And charming.
So
It's
what
a very charming movie.
It is a very charming movie. And Julia Roberts, she's handsome too.
Oh, and before we wrap up, another just not a little because I like to throw these trivia facts out.
Very fun.
Clooney sent Julia the script originally, and it had a $20 bill stapled to it because it had just been announced she was making $20 million a picture, and he had a note saying, "I hear you're making 20 a picture now, George."
Yeah, that's funny.
So there you go.
That's very funny.
Classic ribber, that George Clooney.
Yeah, look at him. What a scoundrel.
He's
what
a card.
What a lovable scamp.
All right, so we doing next week?
Yeah, so what's next week?
Next week, the 6th Pixar movie in the lineup is The Incredibles.
I love The Incredibles.
I've heard that. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to be watching it for the first time, so
Okay.
this is going to be fun and different for me.
It's going to be a delight.
All right, so next week we got The Incredibles coming up. And please follow us on Twitter at Mike Wendt, at Liam NAI, at Bill Neville NAI. God, mornings are tough for me.
Yeah,
I need to switch to beer. That movie show, New Age Pop, New Age Insiders. Go to newageinsiders.com for all of our archives, audio and video, and subscribe to the show wherever your favorite podcast app is. Liam, anything?
No.
Did I cover it?
Yeah, we're going to get on out of here.
Yeah, I got to start drinking.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.